On today's adventure, I headed up north looking for fall and the changing leaves, and as you can see, I found them. First, I went to Aspen Loop Trail up at Snowbowl, and then headed toward Sedona, and this is West Fork Trail. Other places I thought about going were the Mogollon Rim, and even Mount Lemmon in Tucson has some great fall colors right now. I wasn't disappointed in the locations I chose. I started at Snowbowl, and you could see the yellow leaves on the aspens. Unfortunately, the Aspen Loop Trail, which is right next to Snowbowl, you can see the ski lift. You can see all the leaves have fallen off the tree, but it still puts you in a dreamlike state as you lay there, all the leaves around you, looking up at the aspens. It was Gordon Lightfoot who said, "If you could read my mind, what a tale my thoughts would tell." As you lay there, great place to think, take in the fresh fall air. I find it interesting that being out in nature and music can both evoke strong emotions. Hearing a song may take you back 10, 20 years to when you first heard it. Perhaps it was riding in a car with your friends or at a party, remind you of the people that were there and the good times you were having. Music can evoke emotional response, tears of joy, tears of sadness, and being in nature is much the same. This reminds me years ago being on fathers and sons outing with my dad, with my brothers, camping out and cooking. We're all much younger then, but just spectacular to be out. See the yellow changing leaves of fall in Arizona. And even though a lot of the trees had already lost their leaves, it's still a special experience to be out here, to hike through nature. Usually, I don't start my philosophical ramblings until later in the video, if at all. So, I don't know. I guess for some reason, being here by myself just gets you thinking. Well, it's great to hike with a friend or a group and share the experience, have something to look back on. There's something also relaxing about just hiking by yourself at your own pace, taking your time, stopping, smell the flowers, if you will, just giving yourself a chance to think and do your own thing. Since I find a connection between music and nature, for some reason I started thinking about different song lyrics. What are some lyrics that you like? Or perhaps some you don't like? Like it always drove me crazy, Dead-Toed Frog. From that song, it's either a toad or a frog, but it's not a dead-toed frog. Yeah, that's one I don't like. Also don't like in Queen, Fat Bottom Girls. They don't make the world go round. Oh well, still like the song, I guess. Paul Simon addressed how to address an issue in his lyrics. "The problem is all inside your head," she said to me. "The answer is easy if you take it logically." This made me think of how it's so much easier to solve someone else's problem than your own. That's because our own problems we look at emotionally. The answer is easy if you take it logically. Logically, we know we should exercise, we should eat right. We know a lot of things that we should do. We know a lot of the things that we do we shouldn't do. Logically, it seems like we would change. But mentally, for whatever reason, we don't. The problem is all inside your head. Yep, for whatever reason, we lack the motivation or confidence to achieve those things that we want. My mom used to say, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Theodore Roosevelt said, believe you can and you're halfway there. One must simply believe before they can achieve. You must have confidence. And how do we develop confidence? Through practice, experience, preparation. An athlete trains. His past performance gives him confidence that he can perform well in the future. Confidence can give you the motivation to even try. I tried to see the fall colors up at Aspen Loop, and I wasn't so successful. So I've headed farther south, down towards Sedona, and I'm heading to West Fork Trail. As usual, the parking lot was full. Grapevines. But I was able to find a spot along the road about a mile away. This did save me the $10 parking fee, but I still had to pay $3 to enter the West Fork Trail. This property was bought by the U.S. Forest Service in 1968. But before that, it was an old homestead, and in 1926, the Mayhew Lodge opened, which was a favorite getaway for movie stars, politicians, and writers. Guests included President Hoover, Clark Gable, Susan Hayward, Cesar Romero, Jimmy Stewart, and even Walt Disney. Novelist Zane Grey stayed at this lodge and was inspired to write his novel Call of the Canyon, which was later made into a movie. But in about 1980, the lodge burnt down, and these are all you see that's left. In addition to the building remnants, you'll also find evidence of the fruit trees and apple trees that were planted on site. This is one of the apple trees, and you can see that it's full of apples. And there are lots of apples on the ground. They had apple trees with green apples and also apples with red apples. And there's a paved trail until you get to the bridge. Once you pass the bridge, you're on a dirt or gravel trail. And that's where the beauty really begins. Fall at West Fork Trail near Sedona. I mentioned earlier that when I arrived at West Fork Trail, the parking lot was full. So you don't come here to feel the solitude of the outdoors and communing with nature by yourself, because there are a lot of other people here as well. But you come here to see the spectacular fall colors. I'm not sure what that is. I think it's some sort of asparagus fern. But cool to see as it's turned yellow. And these maple trees that dark red leaves, elm trees, all different types of trees, all different colors and shades. Just spectacular to see.
Spectacular.
The leaves shimmy in the breeze.
Up to the
And
mountain
of course,
peaks.
there's lots of pine trees. And you are in a canyon.
Can't get much better than
So,
that.
the rock formations, even if you're not here in fall, are spectacular. It's kind of funny as I start my hike when I come across that first red maple tree, it's like, wow, what's this doing out here? It just doesn't fit, but it's spectacular to see. And as you go farther, you see lots more, and it's like, this isn't just one little isolated tree, but there's a forest of color and trees. And it is just a spectacular feeling. Look at those red leaves against the green background of the rest of the forest and vegetation. And as usual, I bring along my 360 camera. Look at even some flowers blooming in the fall that give me some interesting views and perspectives. The West Fork Trail is about 3.5 miles or 7 miles round trip. And since I added an extra 2 miles round trip from where I parked, I didn't plan to go that far down the West Fork Trail. But with the beauty and spectacular fall vegetation, I ended up going farther than I expected that I would. But since I stop and take photos and videos, it took me a while, so I probably only went about 1 mile down the trail. If you want to see the rest of the trail, you'll have to watch one of my earlier videos on hiking West Fork Trail, where we not only went the 3.5 miles to the end of the trail, but we continued on as you hike clear through the water, through the creek, and you get to some of the most spectacular canyons and areas that you've seen, plus all the other hordes of people don't go that far, so you have the place to yourself, unlike the first mile or so. But the farther you hike, the less people you'll see, and the whole place is spectacular. So even if you just do like I did on this trip and hike about 1 mile in, 1 mile out, you'll see everything that I've seen here
And get much more
that
spectacular
I show in this video. Well worth the trip and the $3 entrance fee. I was about a week late when I arrived to Flagstaff to the Aspen Loop Trail, as all the leaves from the aspen trees had already fallen down. And it was perfect timing for West Fork. How much longer it'll be like this, I don't know. But don't procrastinate. You probably only have a week or 2 left of this spectacular fall foliage, however you say the word. As you can see on the ground, all the leaves. But the trees currently are just spectacular. People think of Arizona as a desert, and well, it is desert around Phoenix where I live. It's just a short drive, and you can get to higher elevations and to other landscapes and see all the seasons of the year. One of the reasons I like it here. I woke up early this morning and I decided I had to go see the fall colors. And then a part of my brain said, probably too late anyway, won't be worth it. Why waste your day doing that? When I could just lay around, watch TV, and take life easy. It gets back to that mentally. We know there's some things we'd enjoy doing if we just get up and be motivated and do them. Things we would enjoy even, and we still don't want to do them. And that's kind of how I was. I'd rather just stay at home. It's easier, simpler. But fortunately, for whatever reason, I got in the car and headed out. And this is what I got to see. Well, I was a little disappointed with the fall colors that were remaining in Flagstaff. Here near Sedona at West Fork Trail, it was just spectacular. Made for a fall trip I'll never forget. One of the cool things is I still got home in time to watch the Arizona Diamondbacks win Game 7 of the playoffs to advance to the World Series. And then after that game, the NBA season started and got to watch the Phoenix Suns beat the Golden State Warriors. So all in all, just an excellent day. As you can see, and as I used to do with some of the hikes with Kelly, on the drive back, I stopped for Chipotle. I actually got it near my house and brought it home and ate as I watched the baseball game. Logically, I knew that I'd enjoy this trip if I'd just get out and do it. But then, in my mind, I lacked confidence. It's like, well, it may be too late. There won't be any fall colors. It's a lot of work for possibly nothing. Do I really want to drive all that way? Do I feel up to it? My leg hurts. It hurts to walk. Do I really want to go hiking? I had a million excuses of why I shouldn't have done it. But logically, I knew those were just excuses, and that if I went out, I would enjoy it and have a great day. And of course, that's what I did. Happiness is not by chance, but by choice. Time zips by whether you're doing anything or not, so you might as well accomplish something. The bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. Choose where you're going. You can't change the direction of the wind, but you can adjust your sails to reach your destination. You've probably had more than enough of my philosophical ramblings, but I have to fill time as I include all the pictures I want to include. So let me ask you a trivia question. And since I started talking about the emotional connection of music and nature, I'll ask you a musical trivia question. Who has the most #1 songs? The answer is the Beatles with 20, followed with Mariah Carey, 19. Have a great day.